Can we talk about how insane this season was? Like, this season was insane. Claudia, she lost a leg. Callum, he got tortured. Baby Soren died in Viren's arms. There are zombies. And Viren, he's lying on the ground in the fetal position, regretting all of his life choices and waiting to die. Okay, now that I've talked about the characters, I'd like to mention the animation again. So I mentioned that it had improved from Season 4. What I mean is, in Season 4, the animation looked a little stiff to me. In this one, I felt like it just loosened up more and everybody was way more expressive. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But also the scenery was so beautiful in this season. There were just so many shots of just scenery and land and sky, and it was so pretty. It was just so pretty. Also, if you haven't watched the end credit art, go watch it, because there's some seriously good art this season, including a drawing which confirmed that Callum has tattoos of those runes he draws on his arms to turn them into wings. They actually confirmed that, yes! So yeah, go look at the art, it's amazing. I also want to shout out to Callum's voice actor, who did such a good job this season. All of his little dorky noises and stuff were so good, and there was just so much personality in all of his lines. So, shout out to the voice actor. Amazing job. Respect. I also got a shout out to the use of poetry this season. It was so cool. It started off with Callum just reading some poetry, and then by the end, poetry was what he was reciting when he was figuring out the Ocean Arcanum. Super cool. Gotta love poetry.
Do not ask how the oceans blue, or why the tides their time do keep. To love is simply to know this: the tides are true as the ocean is deep.
Alright, so this season was filled with so many cool moments, but now I'm going to tell you what my top 5 moments from Season 5 were. Number 5, the Rayla and Amaya scene. In this scene, Amaya tells Rayla not to hurt Callum again, because she hurt him. Badly. And then they talk about how they have to trust their partners, and how it's better to be with someone else than alone. It's a really sweet scene, and I especially like Amaya calling out Rayla for what she did was bad. Because a lot of times they don't do that. They're just kind of like Callum's apologizing all the time. It's like, Rayla is the one who did something bad. She left you for 2 years. So, Amaya calling her out? Yeah, kind of a slay. Number 4, Callum's Ocean Arcanum. This season he learned a new Arcanum, and it was a super cool moment when he's doing all his poetry and stuff, and he just kind of like explodes with power. It's just like, just all of his magic was amazing this season. Last season he didn't really get to do a lot of magic, because last season was super lame, but this season he really got to show off how powerful he's become in the 2 years. He learned a new Arcanum, and he was doing a ton of sky magic this season too. So, good for you, Callum. Just kind of rocking it out with your magic. Yes. 3. Viren rejecting Erebos. The scene where Viren decides not to do the dark magic spell and kill the child, which would be Sparklepuff or whatever his name is. When he decides not to do that and not to do dark magic anymore, and just goes and rejects Erebos. 2. The scene where Soren stands up for Elmer. I already talked about the scene. I said I think it's one of the best scenes in the entire show, and I maintain that. Super good scene. Number 1. Viren's visions were super cool this season. It really let us see into his past and his headspace and stuff like that. It was a really cool, all his visions were super cool. And I have to say, probably my favorite moment was when he was talking to his younger self in the mirror, and how they talked to each other about how it's never too late to change. I think that was one of my favorite parts of the season, probably my favorite part. So, that's number 1.